You know that feeling, right? You set a big goal. Maybe it's financial saving for that down payment, hitting an investment number, finally clearing a big debt. Setting the intention feels good.
Yeah, it does. But the real win, that only comes when you actually close on it, when the dream, becomes a done deal.
Exactly. And there's this principle strongly linked to figures like Donald Trump and that whole world of high stakes deal making, always be closing.
Right. And it's more than just a catchy phrase, isn't it? It's really a mindset. Laser focused on execution, on making aspirations into, well, concrete reality.
And that's what we're doing a deep dive on today. We've got source material here, excerpts from a video script, always be closing, execute your financial wins, and passages from The Art of the Deal.
Mm-hmm. And our mission really is to cut through the noise, pull out the surprising actionable stuff from these sources. We want to understand what it means to prioritize completion above all else.
And the role of flexibility that seems key, plus how leverage and psychology fit in.
Absolutely. And we'll look at real-world examples from the sources you shared, see how it all played out.
Okay, let's unpack this core idea first. Always be closing. What's it really mean, beyond just sales talk? The video source gets right to the heart of it.
It does. The video defines it like this. The ultimate goal, the non-negotiable, is finalizing the deal, period. Until the ink is dry, nothing's certain.
So it demands this relentless focus on execution, getting results.
Yes, exactly. Making the finish line the top priority from step one. It's not just about having the idea, it's about seeing it through.
So it sounds less like always be selling and more like always be executing, pushing past that planning stage to actually get across the finish line.
That's a great way to put it. The video highlights some key parts of this. Prioritizing the finish line means every step, every conversation should ideally move you closer, tangibly closer.
And avoiding paralysis by analysis.
Definitely. You can't get stuck just thinking about it. You have to act, see what happens, adjust, and just keep pushing forward, refusing to get bogged down.
Which needs decisiveness, I imagine.
Oh, absolutely. Making decisions quickly keeps the momentum going. If you stall, roadblocks just get bigger, people lose interest, things stagnate. It's all about the outcome. Getting the deal done is priority number one.
The book really shows this with examples of just constant activity.
Right.
A packed schedule, meetings, calls, depositions, all driving deals forward.
Right. It paints this picture of constant motion, but it's motion with a clearer goal. Closing deals. Think about the Woolman Rink project. The city failed for 7 years.
Yeah, I remember reading that.
And the book notes, Trump steps in, finishes it ahead of schedule. That's the principle right there, not just planning, but executing, delivering.
And he contrasts that with how hard it often is to make big projects happen efficiently. He mentions Trump Plaza in Atlantic City on budget, on time.
Right next to that penthouse casino project next door, which was a disaster. Couldn't get finished affordably or on time. So it really shows that always be closing is more than just getting a signature. It's about the successful completion, executing effectively on time. That's the real financial win.
Okay, now here's where it gets, well, really interesting for me. The video source brings up flexibility, which sounds almost counterintuitive to that relentless drive, right? How do you stay focused on closing but also stay adaptable?
Yeah, that's a crucial point and one people often miss. Being too rigid, that can absolutely kill a deal. The video argues that to actually get the deal done, you need strategic flexibility.
So it's not about caving on your main goal or your bottom line.
No, not at all. It's being willing to adjust the smaller things, the details, if that's what it takes to secure the bigger agreement. You can't let minor points blow up the whole thing. That focus has to be on completing the deal.
So you identify the hill you absolutely will die on, but you're ready to maneuver everywhere else. Is that the idea?
That's pretty much it. It means, creative problem solving when things pop up unexpectedly. Instead of just hitting a wall and stopping, you look for different ways to structure things, find a way around the obstacle.
Okay.
Sometimes you might even consciously give ground on a smaller point, maybe a less vital term, if digging in means you lose the whole deal. The video really stresses that ego can't get in the way. Adaptability, in this context, is actually presented as the real power. It lets you navigate to that finish line.
The book has some amazing examples of this, adapting the strategy on the fly, like the Commodore Hotel deal. He needed that tax abatement, right? That was make or break.
Absolutely. And he showed flexibility in a few ways there. He stalled on paying the initial option fee, the $250K.
Right.
That bought him time.
Right. Time to line up other pieces.
Exactly. And he used the competition between architects Obata and Gruen as leverage to get a lower fee from Durskut, the guy he eventually hired.
Yeah.
Smart. And even how he argued for the deal showed flexibility. Playing to the bank's sense of moral obligation, leveraging the city's desperate financial state. It wasn't just one approach. He adapted his pitch.
And Trump Tower, that needed a ton of negotiation, adapting the plan, especially around zoning.
Oh, definitely. The decision to use that model of the as-of-right building, the uglier one he was legally allowed to build, that was brilliant.
As leverage, you mean?
Pure leverage and strategic flexibility. By showing city planning what he could build if they didn't approve his preferred design, the one with public space, he nudged them. He was flexible enough to prepare a worse option, just as a tool.
Wow.
And structuring that Bonwit-Teller lease with Allied stores, super creative flexibility. Renting them a small part for big income meant he effectively owned the land for free. That strengthened his hand with the city. Hey, if you want Bonwit back, he adapted the property's use to serve the bigger goal, getting the tower approved.
The Atlantic City site assembly, too. Making each purchase contingent, that seems like flexibility in the structure itself.
Yes, absolutely. Making every small parcel purchase depend on getting all the others. That was vital strategic flexibility. It stopped holdouts from killing the whole thing.
Which happens all the time in those situations.
Exactly. And getting long leases with options to buy for the bigger pieces instead of buying outright immediately. Another adaptation, flexibility in managing the upfront cash, adapting to the lending climate then. That flexible structure was key to putting that site together.
And even with the Hilton Casino purchase, after the price was set, he didn't stop negotiating.
No, he spent a lot of time on what he called the 1,000 other smaller points. This wasn't getting lost in the weeds. It was crucial flexibility to fine-tune the deal, protect his investment. He pushed for guarantees on construction, on defects, held back $5 million until it was delivered perfectly.
Right, so being flexible about what constituted the final win, not just the price tag.
Exactly. It was the quality and security of the whole thing.
My favorite example of adapting might be that 100 Central Park South building. The plan was demolition, right? But tenant lawsuits stopped him for years.
That's a perfect example of a setback forcing a strategic pivot. He talks about it like losing a battle. You find a new way to win the war. The delay forced him to change the whole plan renovation instead of demolition.
And it turned out better.
Way better, according to the book. Property values shot up during the delay, and the renovation let him keep desirable features while adding modern stuff. It ended up being much more profitable. It just shows sometimes the path to closing requires a huge adaptation, and that adaptability can lead to something even better than you first planned.
So flexibility isn't weakness, it's strategic. It's about navigating the real world to make sure you hit that finish line, even if the route changes completely. Prioritizing the goal of completion over sticking rigidly to the initial plan. Okay, let's switch gears slightly. Influencing the other side. Both sources talk about the psychology of deal-making.
Yeah, the video really emphasizes understanding human psychology. It talks about tactics like creating urgency, maybe deadlines, maybe hinting other people are interested. It's also about building momentum, getting small yeses along the way. Each little agreement makes it harder, psychologically, for the other side to just walk away later.
And projecting certainty, that seems really important.
Oh, absolutely. Projecting confidence in your position, your ability to deliver, that the deal will happen that can be hugely influential. People often prefer dealing with someone who seems decisive, capable.
And handling objections.
Seeing them not as dead ends, but as chances. Chances to address concerns, understand what's really going on, and gently steer things back towards closing.
The book ties the idea of leverage right into this psychological side.
Right. Leverage, as the book defines it, is basically having something the other side wants or needs. Or, even better, just can't do without.
So negotiating from strength, or at least appearing to.
Exactly. And avoiding desperation is key. Generating leverage often takes imagination, salesmanship, convincing the other side that agreeing to your terms is actually good for them.
That West Side Yards deal back in '74 sounds like an early example using both psychology and creating leverage.
Yeah, he talks about selling energy, enthusiasm to Victor Palmieri, the guy selling the land for the bankrupt railroad. He notes the simplest approach is often the most effective. He projected strength, promoting the Trump organization, making it sound bigger than his tiny office. Used political connections in his pitch, implying influence, and a key psychological tactic. Framing the site and the city's finances as such a disaster that it lowered Palmieri's view of the property's value. created negotiating room.
And back to the Commodore Hotel announcing publicly they might close it. That was pure psychological pressure, wasn't it?
Huge pressure. Announcing via Palmieri that the rundown hotel would close if the deal failed. That put immense pressure on the city to approve the tax abatement. Played right into fears of a big eyesore near Grand Central.
And leveraging guilt with the banks, too?
Yeah, playing to their sense of moral obligation during the city's financial crisis. And asking for that unprecedented 40-year tax abatement before financing was fully locked down, that was a massive bluff. Projected incredible confidence, basically dared the city to say no.
The Tiffany air rights negotiation for Trump Tower, that's a classic example of leverage and psychology working together.
Absolutely classic. Walter Hoving at Tiffany cared deeply about the light and views around his store, showing him models of the preferred tower and that ugly, as-of-right box Trump could build. That hit Hoving's pride and fear directly.
Using the threat of the ugly building as leverage.
Exactly. And using the Bonwit-Teller lease with city planning, subtly reminding them they wanted that store back. Clear leverage again, having something they wanted. The book also mentions just persistence. Fighting through court appeals, wearing everyone else down. That's a form of psychological pressure, too, just refusing to quit.
In Atlantic City, with the licensing, he took a very direct psychological route.
Very direct, telling the attorney general and head of gaming enforcement he'd walk away, wouldn't invest more until they decided. Refused to be strung along. It showed he wasn't desperate, which is crucial for leverage.
The St. Moritz Hotel purchase, there was some clever leverage baked into that deal, too.
Yeah. His plan to close the nearby Barbizon Plaza, which he also owned, and move staff and customers over. That gave him instant leverage with the banks financing the St. Moritz deal.
Because it showed how he could boost revenue fast.
Exactly. Made it a much safer bet for the lenders. Even let him get cash back at closing.
And finally, that Hilton Casino negotiation. There was a specific psychological tactic he used near the end.
Right. After the main terms were agreed, when Hilton seemed to be getting tougher on the final details, he describes shifting his tone. More hurt than outraged or angry, he says. Arguing it felt immoral, dishonorable for them to potentially back out after so much negotiation. That makes it psychologically harder for them to kill the deal without a really good reason. It leverages that desire to seem fair, not to waste effort.
Okay, so mastering leverage in psychology isn't about being, sneaky. It's about understanding what drives people, finding advantages, and strategically guiding things towards getting that deal closed. So let's bring this home for the listener. How can you use this always be closing mindset in your own financial life? The video source had some practical ideas, but the book examples add so much nuance.
Right. The video suggests concrete things, setting financial goals with clear dates and actual steps to close them. Like, say you want to save $10,000. Don't just want it. Set the date. Define the specific, non-negotiable actions each week to close that savings goal by the deadline.
And closing your budget each month by actually sticking to it, not just making a plan and forgetting it.
Yeah, executing investment trades based on your strategy, not getting stuck researching forever, confirming the terms after a salary negotiation, get that raise closed in writing. Actively working a debt repayment plan, pushing through, closing out chunks of debt one deal at a time, basically overcoming procrastination, taking action, pushing to completion.
And the book examples add those critical layers, that relentless persistence, fighting back, wearing everyone else down. How does that apply personally?
Well, it's about refusing to quit on your goals when things go wrong. Did you blow the budget one month? Okay, you lost a battle, but don't give up the war, your overall financial plan. Adjust. Cut back next month. Keep going.
Right.
Is saving for something big feeling impossible?
Right.
Break it into smaller deals. Hit $1,000 this month, then the next. The wearing down isn't about other people and personal finance. It's about wearing down the obstacles, your own inertia, unexpected bills, moments you feel discouraged. It's about outlasting the hard parts.
And the idea of credibility built over time, leading to better deals later, like with the financing examples. That applies personally, too. Right?
Oh, absolutely. Being reliable with your money, paying bills on time, handling debt well builds your own credit score, which is basically leverage for the future, better loan rates, better terms. Your financial reputation is credibility that helps you close better deals down the road.
And fighting for the details even after the main agreement, like in the Hilton deal.
In personal finance, maybe that means not just taking the loan rate offered, but really digging into all the fees and terms, not just accepting the salary, but confirming benefits, vacations, start date, everything in writing, making sure the whole deal is solid and works for you, not just grabbing the first yes. It's about closing the right deal.
And that really powerful idea from 100 Central Park South that setbacks, delays can sometimes lead to better outcomes if you stay adaptable and persistent.
Yeah, that might be the most profound application. Did an investment tank? Did you have a career setback? Those are like the lawsuits stopping demolition. Instead of just giving up, look for the hidden opportunity the setback creates.
Hmm.
Could selling that loser investment free up cash for something amazing? Could that job setback push you towards a path that's ultimately more fulfilling, maybe even pays better, something you never would have considered otherwise? It takes flexibility to see the new path and persistence to actually follow it.
So this always be closing mindset, boiled down, it's about ruthlessly prioritizing that finish line.
Yes,
Strategic flexibility when things get messy.
definitely.
Leveraging your advantages, whatever they are, even just energy and being prepared.
Mm-hmm.
And just relentless persistence in turning intentions into actual results. Dollars in the bank.
Mm-hmm.
Focusing on completing the deal, not letting small things kill the big picture, and adapting whenever you have to get there.
That's it, exactly. It's a powerful way to think about taking control, turning abstract goals into concrete, completed deals in your financial life.
That's a fantastic summary of these principles. The power of prioritizing completion, the absolute necessity of flexibility, even radical flexibility, the impact of leverage and psychology, and just that relentless execution and persistence to make things happen.
Agreed. It's always moving towards getting it done.
So, to leave you with a final thought to chew on, reflect on this idea that sometimes the deals or the goals that seem the toughest, the ones that force you to be incredibly flexible or even change your whole strategy, like that renovation instead of demolition at 100 Central Park South, can actually end up being the most successful, maybe in ways you couldn't have possibly seen coming. Where in your own financial life might a setback, an obstacle, actually be hiding an opportunity for a bigger win if you just stay persistent and adapt?